Hi everyone, welcome to Praxis Fiber Workshop. I am here today with Tony Williams, who you will all remember from an earlier video, and I invited Tony to come back because I really wanted him to show you some more in-depth processes and really what your specialty is, like what you use in your practice, and also what you're bringing to this amazing class that we're offering this weekend here in the workshop. So I have so many amazing things in front of me, and it's hard for me not to just sit here and touch them all. So maybe you could just walk us through and what are we looking at and what can someone expect to do at the workshop this weekend.
Okay, well, you can expect to work with a number of different types of resist. The sample up front, this one is a stenciled pattern done with cassava paste.
So what is a cassava?
Cassava is a yucca plant. It's the root that has been smashed and boiled, and you cook it down and it becomes this paste. And then you can use it to either paint with or stencil with.
Got it.
So these two designs are stenciled.
And this is on paper, gorgeous, beautiful, thin.
Yeah, one is on kozo paper and the other is on cotton muslin.
Yes, and this is the cotton muslin fabric. Got it. Okay.
So this example is an example of the same paste being used but painted with the chicken feather.
And Tony, you have this amazing video you just showed me of you painting with this feather on the paper, on this exact sample, and I'm going to edit that in to the video for the folks at home. And it's so relaxing and hypnotizing to just even watch you. Do you think that's kind of the point?
It is the point.
Yeah.
It slows you down, and it is very meditative. Yeah. In the approach that you have with it. It's just quiet time, and it just kind of flows. I mean, you sit there and you start off with this little piece, and next thing you know, you've got this large piece done. So.
Wow. Yeah, I absolutely love it. And I think that is such an important part of dyeing. It's just taking that time.
So the other thing I'm really interested in is showing people how to do yardage. We usually do these little samples, and this class would give you the opportunity to learn how to do a production run, how you get 5 yards of something.
Yeah.
Which is not always taught. So,
No.
It definitely gives you the opportunity to do larger projects and really expand your work and, the things that you want to create.
This is one of the most beautiful pieces of fabric I've ever seen.
I love it all.
No, it's so, I'm just drawn to it so much. There's so much detail. I think you said that's two stamps.
There are 2 stamps in this, and there is a layer of brown cola nut, and then there's the wax, and then indigo, and then wax.
And do you remove the wax between dips?
No.
Got it. It's so cool.
No.
It's so cool.
Wax isn't removed until the very end.
And it's the final magic reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Indigo is already so much about this magical final
Yes.
reveal. I feel like using your resist pattern is just double the magic.
Yes, it is. It is. It really is.
Amazing. And you told me that this is one dip of natural.
This is one dip of a natural vat.
And what's the species of indigo you were using?
This was an African species.
So beautiful.
And the richness and color and depth is unbelievable. I haven't experienced anything else like this yet. So looking to get some of that here. Get my hands on some of that.
That's what we need.
So
We absolutely need it. It's almost purple.
yes.
It's a completely different color. It's unbelievable. Wow, and you have something, this is an example that hasn't been washed yet,
Yes,
right?
this is an example of another technique with the cassava paste, in that it is combed, it is smeared entirely over the fabric, and then you comb a design through it. And wherever you've done the combing technique has raised the cassava, and the indigo will penetrate there.
I love it. you can really see, you can see where the combing pattern is and how it's just going to be so dramatic when it's washed out.
It'll be very beautiful when this is done.
Wow. Well, I think that it's a real opportunity to take this class. I think there's just, you'll try so many different things. You'll end up with so much fabric.
Yes.
And get to just do so many levels of experimentation. And you're just skimming the surface of the depth of knowledge that you have about this process and about the history. I would love to show everyone just like an example of one of your own artworks that you're using these processes and kind of how that applies.
Okay, well, this is a waxed piece. And it's a combination of using a sponge that's been turned into a pencil. I'll show you how to cut that to get
the real line work.
To do your line work. It can be done with a brush, but I find the sponge just gives me more flexibility and the ability to go for a longer time.
Really beautiful image, and you see a lot of pattern being used,
yes.
You know, in these processes, and I think it's really unique to be able to use it in like a figurative, more painterly way. So you don't have to necessarily have a background in textiles to try this.
That is true.
You can have any interest in using your hands and image making and mark making. This is so beautiful. I'm just going to hold it up so everyone can see how powerful it is. Wonderful. Is there anything else you want to share? Wait, what is this plant that you've brought with you?
This is an example of indigo that's grown in South Carolina.
Okay. So is this what indigo on plantations looked like in this country?
Yes.
Okay.
This is what was grown here in the States.
And everyone is home harvesting. I mean, I'm interrupting you. Everyone is home harvesting. Is the harvest similar?
No.
Okay, everything is different.
Everything is different. The harvest for this is we wait until this blooms and then the plant is full of indigo, and that is when it's cut. It is then placed under water and allowed to ferment, and the extraction process begins. So the way it is processed is totally different than the way the Japanese indigo is processed. It's a faster process only because of the heat in the south and the ability to get a vat done in a few days and produce a tremendous amount of indigo. This plant was cultivated by Africans who were enslaved in South America and were brought up from Antigua. And Eliza Lucas everyone wants to claim discovered this indigo.
Who brought the seed? The daughter?
Well,
is that that story?
Her father sent her a number of seeds to try and grow, to cultivate their 3 plantations, and this was one of the seeds that she and her slaves were able to propagate. So, ergo the explosion of indigo in America.
Right. And how she also received credit for growing something that absolutely wasn't hers, that was brought from an entirely other culture, and changed the narrative of indigo probably in the world forever.
Yes. So from that, there was a booming slave trade, and Great Britain was responsible for sponsoring lots of those plantations and growing indigo because of their thirst for the color. So we'll talk more about that this weekend. Come see me.
It's really important. It's such an important history. It's so important to know where that color comes from, since every one of us owned a pair of denim blue jeans.
Oh,
So we have to be able to know where that comes from.
yes.
Thank you so much for being here and sharing this with us, Tony.
My pleasure.
There are a few spots left in Tony's class this weekend. Please do sign up. It's a wonderful opportunity, and you'll get to spend the weekend with us.
Thanks.
Thanks.